This past Sunday, Pastor Lamora Miller Whitehead and his wife were victims in a robbery that was broadcast on the church's live stream. According to CNN, 3 people entered the Leaders of Tomorrow church with firearms and escaped with over $1 million worth of jewelry while he was preaching. When the news story went viral, several other pastors were quick to give their input, with some even criticizing and laughing at Whitehead, making many wonder what has happened to the church in recent years. Today we have our company hype analysts, Capone and Pierre in the studio, along with very special guest Trey Mo to give their thoughts and reactions. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
Larry, I never disrespected you, brother. I treated you with nothing but respect and integrity. So from where this is coming from, I don't know. I don't need no favors from you, Larry. But my question to you is,
Larry, you do though.
Larry, excuse me, ma'am. I don't even know you, ma'am. We can really get like this, all right? You're not gonna laugh at the situation where a gun was pointed at my baby, where a gun was pointed at. I listened to it. Let's go there, Biggie.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
I'm a liar. Let's go. How am I a liar, Biggie? Biggie Big, not Biggie Smalls, but you're Biggie Big. We had a conversation. And my position was that I preached the gospel of Jesus Christ. Homosexuality is an abomination.
No, you're mean.
And you want to sit here and validate homosexuality because you just admitted that you're a faggot.
And I wasn't disrespectful to you.
Yes, you was. Yes, you was.
You can't
yes,
take
you was.
Jokes.
Yeah, you was.
Yeah,
you was disrespectful. Yeah, you was disrespectful. But you got.
Whew, that is definitely cringeworthy, but I want to get your thoughts and reactions. Pierre, I'll start with you. What are your reactions? You know, are the pastors wrong for the foul language that we heard, you know, in the video?
That was a bunch of niggerdom just then. Not blackdom, niggerdom. There was a lot of foolishness on there. To be pastors the way they talk, that might have been a reality show. The hell was going on with them, man? All of them was wrong for it. Especially my man who got robbed with all them extra words. He called it Biggie and all that. And is this what I don't go to church, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I ain't seen shit. But when I grew up in church, it wasn't going down like that. The pastors was not going like that. My uncle's a pastor, my father was. I don't remember nothing like that. It's straight out of some next level entertainment, or for those who's entertaining, it's just out of hand. Just out of hand as a group. So I'm gonna say that. Shameful on them, and I wouldn't want to go to their church.
Yeah, absolutely. Capone, I'll come to you. What are your reactions? You know, do you think the pastors were wrong for the language that was being used?
I say it all the time. Pastors use that language quite often. I recognize the pastor that got robbed. I didn't recognize him at first until we were looking at the clip. And, you know, from a street dude to another, he's had a pretty, he wanted to be a comedian at one time. He used to hang around with the comedians. And
he is.
Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I remember when he got his first Rolls Royce, he actually went to one of my boys' dealerships to get it and was demanding it to be customized like right away. He's a funny character, very funny character, and he does not hold no punches, as y'all can see. It was amazing to hear all the stuff that I heard.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anybody held back, but especially him. He definitely went full forth. Trey, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us today and to talk about this topic. I want to get your reactions. What are your thoughts? Do you think the pastors are wrong for the language that was used?
Yeah, most definitely. He was clearly in his feelings. You know what I'm saying? He won't let anybody talk. And then the way he went in on a lady. You know, I understand the beef with the other pastor if you feel like you're making a mockery out of him, but you just went in on a lady. It felt like it was a little bit unprovoked on that end, you know. Yeah, he was in his feelings major. And then he was wrong because he used the F word. You know what I'm saying? Like, you in this day and age, you can't do that. Like, say 1999.
Shit, he used the B word too, calling her Biggie. Shit, that ain't right either. She wasn't, you know, the whole Biggie Smalls thing. I think he has his mind messed up. I thought he thought that they were doing that movie, what's that, Uptown Saturday Night, where they robbed the place. I thought he was going for part 2. On them roads, come on, Biggie Smalls, come on. Dude.
Yeah, like you said, it definitely felt like a reality show. And I think something else you brought up, Pierre, is, you know, this doesn't feel like what church used to be. Even for myself, like, I still go to church. It doesn't, like, seeing this definitely isn't what I'm accustomed to. So I want to ask you, do you think the church has lost its way in the recent years? You know, they talked a lot about jewelry in the live and, you know, getting clout and all those type of things. Do you think the church has lost its way in the
Well, Well, I don't know the whole church, but there's people in the church and pastors in the church have lost their way. And I think they're trying to get more younger people to come to church, and they think they have to stoop down to their level, you know, and maybe think that cursing and being hip hop and all this kind of extra flossy to get get your congregation fuller, you know, at the end of the day. But there's still some great churches out there where pastors don't get down like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna let these three, when they was acting, you know, have any reflection of all the churches right now. Because like I said, there's some churches that are really, there's pastors who are really doing stuff for their church. Like I said, my uncle, trying to help other people out, and would never use that kind of language. So, for him, like Capone said, he know him from a street dude. The dude been to prison already and stuff. It's just a street nigga who got behind the pulpit instead of a microphone like a comedian. That's all it is. Yeah. So yeah.
Trey, I'll actually come back to you with that same question. When we're looking at this instance, and we've seen other instances as well, do you think the church has lost its way over the recent years?
Well, I don't know if it lost its way or if like social media brought it, like allowed us to see the pastor. Because if it wasn't no Instagram Live, this conversation could have happened on a three-way call or a telephone call, right? And we never would have knew nothing about it. So now we see, I think pastors like putting on shows sometimes on the internet. And then it makes us realize, like, well, has this been going on in the church? And not every church, because like P.S. said, like we ain't gonna let these three like dictate, like speak for every church. But in news in recent times, I think the internet has kind of made a little bit of everybody lose their way a little bit. It's the clout season. Everybody trying to use the internet to get a step up. So there's a lot of people that I think has lost their way in every profession.
Right.
Due to the internet, trying to come up on the internet.
Right.
But I did notice how he lost his pastor accent when the robbers came in. I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry, but he lost his pastor's accent. He was talking like a pastor, and then he lost the accent when they walked in. I noticed that with the gun.
Switched up. Capone, I'll bring that. Capone, I'll bring that same question to you. When we're looking at this situation, amongst other things that we've seen, do you think the church has lost its way over the recent years?
A long time ago, when pastors are able to buy mansions all over, buy planes and helicopters, and your congregation barely can put food on their plate, it's been lost. These mega churches, whether it's white or black, they had a thing with Joel Osteen when he was going through something. I forgot what disaster it was.
Hurricane.
But he didn't open his doors to some of the people. We've been lost our way. And, people have to really, really do research on what it is that they believe in, because it ain't the churches that it seems that they believe in. It's the person that's speaking at the time with the pastor. Because if you can give this man all these riches and all of that, and you will sit back and be, starving or hungry, that says a lot.
Absolutely. Now, I want to kind of transition this a little bit into the comedian space, because how this all started, how this argument started, was because they were cracking jokes about an incident that had just happened to him and his wife and his congregation. Pierre, I want to come to you. When it comes to comedians, is there a thing that says it's too soon to make a joke? Like, can it be too soon to make a joke?
Just a reflection of that video we just saw.
Yeah.
Check out that nigga sitting in the chair in the corner. He ain't moved when the robbery came in. Just go back to that video and watch the dude that sat in the corner. He might have something to do with the shit, okay? He sat there cool, smooth, watched the whole thing go down. So just want you to watch that. Too soon. Yeah, well, here it is with comedy, as all the comedians will know. Comedy, the formula for comedy is tragedy plus time equals comedy. So you give it enough time, then you can talk about it. If there is a too soon, if something just happens today or tomorrow, sometimes we can't talk about it. Just people's emotions are still raw about it. We have to wait for it to calm down a little bit. And the victim usually don't feel like it's never the right time to talk about. Because people talked about 9/11, a week after it. Well, the comedians did, but people who died in there, their family, they wasn't too happy about it. But you couldn't really talk about the night of, know. So there is a time of some space. And too soon, it all depends on the person receiving the comedy. You know what I'm saying? The joke, If they feel like it's too soon, the comedian might feel like it ain't too soon, and then we'll do it. But talking about happy times is not a great thing for comedy. Think about it. You never heard somebody say, man, I had a great day today. I had a great day. Man, my wife is really nice to me. She does really good stuff to me. You're like,
right.
let's hear some shit about what's going wrong.
Gotcha.
And that's what we do.
Capone, let me ask you the same question. You know, when we're looking at, you know, being a comedian and cracking jokes and tragedies that are happening around the world, for you, do you use that same formula, or what's considered too soon as a comedian when you're making jokes?
What made this a tragedy? First of all, the whole thing was a joke.
Damn.
As Pierre pointed out, the guy that sat there, he didn't move. Hey. And he lay down on the floor. That was the joke. All right. The guys ain't even say nothing. They just, all you heard or saw was the pastor preaching, and no, it depends on the comedian and how tasteful he is with the joke. There's a lot of comedians that are very tasteful with a joke that can make it funny. The same shit an hour later, right after it happened.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I guess there's different layers to it. Trey, I want to get your thoughts on it, especially being a younger comedian on the show today. What are your thoughts? You know, is there anything that you consider too soon to joke about? You know, or is there something that you stay away from because it could be too soon?
Yeah, kind of like Capone and P.S. said. Like Capone said, it's all in the comedian, and comedy is subjective, so it's all on who's receiving. Like P.S. said, on me, I kind of like too soon raunchy comedy. You know, that's just my preference. If I was like getting comedy, I like when something happened and somebody says something. Outside of kids, you know, everything outside of like kids, something happening to kids or like a mass shooting to kids, anything like that. But outside of that, I like it. So it's all about who's receiving the comedy. And like Capone said, it's all about who's skillful enough to make something funny. I remember when my granddad passed, we all went to my grandmother's house, and we all just sitting around like right at, and this may be like 5-6 hours after, and my uncle walks in, he's leaving out my grandma's house. My grandma's sitting on the sofa. He looked at my grandma and say, "Hey, don't be having these niggas running in and out my dad's house." And he walked clean out, and and from there we died laughing because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody can say that's too soon because it just happened 5-6 hours ago, but the fact that he telling my grandma don't be having these niggas running in and out my dad's house is just, you know what I mean? They was married 60 years. So it was like, that wasn't a too soon moment. It was like he was skillful enough in the timing. And we needed that a little bit. Sometimes you need that in tragedy. You need the icebreaker.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's a great example because I know I've been, you know, a part of my family's funerals, and we kind of crack jokes at the funeral just to kind of loosen it up. And sometimes you need that, like you said, if they're laughing, then it's not too soon. Last thing I do want to bring up, so, and Capone, I'll come back to you. Now, I know you don't consider this a tragedy. However, we are seeing more places, whether it's churches, comedy shows, you know, people running in armed, you know, whether they're looking to do something or not. And in recent times, actually, Craig Robinson experienced a gun incident, you know, at one of his shows. So I want to ask Capone, you know, do you think when it comes to pastors or even comedians that you should carry a gun with you, being that we are seeing more and more people take these type of actions?
I think carrying a gun provokes people to react a lot different than they would without carrying a gun. You know, I was a gun toter, and I walked through places where I knew I dared somebody to say something to me, and I didn't have no beef with nobody. It was just the fact that I had it on me and it felt protected. I think that when you put this into the people's hands that are in a profession to make people laugh or to be speakers, I don't think that a gun is really necessary because it changes the whole environment to me, period.
Pierre, I want you to chime in on that. What are your thoughts, you know, as a comedian, or even, you know, when we're seeing these places, do you think pastors and comedians or other people that are in those positions should carry guns?
Good question. First of all, thank you. In fact, I'm back in studio with you. You are just as beautiful as you are online and intelligent. I need you to know that. She's beautiful in person and intelligent as all those. So I'm glad to be here. You have your radiant, and them lips are perfect. Y'all are correct. Now let's get to the subject you said. To carry a gun, well, I'm licensed in 2 states. Well, I got a concealed in Georgia and also in Maryland. I carry Capone's different than I am. I don't feel tougher because I carry. I don't want people to know I have a gun, you know what I'm saying, necessarily. I don't carry every single day, but I don't feel any tougher. I just, at the end of the day, I know if something pop off, I'm not going to be cowering in the corner. Right. I'm just being honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to help myself and those around me in that situation. On stage, I feel like I don't think it's necessary to carry a gun on stage. We have enough people in the room to do something about it. But if we're just talking about on stage carrying, I don't think it's necessary to carry on stage. You know, it might fall out, people might see it. I don't need people to see I have a gun. But on a normal basis, walking the streets, you know, if I have mine on me, just understand, it won't just be fisticuff.
Just don't try it. Trey, I'll ask you, you know, as a comedian, and I'll even make it more personal, you know, do you feel the need to carry, you know, that, you know, like I said, Craig Robinson experienced that where, you know, gunmen came in during his show right before he went on stage, and then now we're seeing, you know, a pastor who's preaching and people come in armed. You know, what are your thoughts? Do you feel the need to carry, or do you feel like comedians and pastors should carry more?
I'm a little bit indifferent. You know what I mean? I'm popular on the internet, so I get a lot of death threats sometimes. So it's like you think about it, and you like, I wonder how crazy the person is, like in real life. If you gotta think about it, you got 1 million followers, at least 5,000 crazy, right? And then 1,000 really crazy, and then 100 really crazy, and 10 to do something to you. You know what I mean? So it's like it just numbers wise, right? So I'm a little like a little anxious sometimes. Like if I have a show or something, now I think like if you can't afford it, you may hire somebody as security that could be in the room. But I personally would want to just carry, because like Capone said, it'll change the energy. But I also agree with Pierre, we talking personal. I ain't mad at somebody for carrying it and having something concealed that they don't know, because you never know what can happen to you at any moment. You know, the world it's kind of out there at the moment. But yeah, but not on stage. I wouldn't want to carry or be armed in the comedy club.
Right, Pierre.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah, and to us three, you know, it's crazy. We can be on the social media platform and voice our opinion, and for someone to be so frustrated at our opinion that, you know, the comments, I get it, but to come and want to do something personally, like really, it bothered you that much? My opinion bothered you. Your opinion, you don't like me, so you're going to do something to me. You have your opinion. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And it's amazing how people can get really that upset about what you feel and believe in that they'll go off the end to maybe hurt somebody. Luckily, none of us been hurt right now so far, but it's just crazy why, you know, you up there, you're talking, you know, we're just giving our opinion. That's what we're hired for. Right. So for someone to take it to another level is absolutely ridiculous. It shows speaks more volumes of you than of me, in my opinion, that you can't handle my opinion. Wow.
Yeah, and I just hope that as time, you know, goes on, that people just realize that, like you said, you have your opinion, I have mine. We don't necessarily have to agree, but as long as I have respect for you, have the same respect for me. So I do wish you all well as you continue to go, you know, on these stages and in these rooms. I pray over you always, so I appreciate y'all for chiming in on this topic. Before we head out, Trey Mo, again, I want to thank you for joining us. You always make us laugh and just have a good time when we're on the show. But I want to know, what do you have coming up, and how can people follow you?
My name is Trey Mo. It's TreyMoe. You can follow me on all social medias. It's Trey Mo. I'm gonna be at Comedy Hype Studios this Saturday. I have a meet and greet, and we're doing a live interview. That's pretty much it. Sorry, coming.
And anybody with the crazy comments, don't come. It's not for you. It's not for you. Capone, what do you have coming up, and how can people follow you?
Well, this week I'm gonna be in Baltimore at the Baltimore Comedy Factory. And then the New York Kings is at Salsa. And then we heading out to Florida, Orlando.
Awesome. Well, safe travels to you, and congratulations on everything. And last and certainly not least, Mr. Man straight from the set.
There it is right there. Yeah, I was just on the set, Pimmy, you know what I'm saying, with Jamie Foxx, Tyler Pratt and all them, and Jasmine Guy, doing a very funny movie called Not Another Church Movie. So basically it's a spoof of all the Tyler Perry's movies. Okay. So I just finished wrapping that up. Next weekend I'll be at Riddles in Chicago on August 5th and 6th. You can call all my social media at Comic Pierre. Hit me up there, or act foolish like y'all normally do in the comments. You know, it is what it is. You know, jump on them comments. You know, so catch me and all that, and you know.
Absolutely.
And it's just my opinion, y'all. It's just my opinion.
It's all love, all love. Again, thank you all for chiming in on this topic, but you heard from us, now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this pastor going off on live? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in those comments.
And it's all love.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.